online, on the TuneIn app, and on your smart speaker. Play Shock Radio.
This is Shock
News.
Hello and welcome back to the Shock News Show. I'm Sophie Milligan and I'm here with Will Phillips and Alfie Mulcahy.
Hello.
How are we, guys?
I'm pretty good. I'm starving and I'm even more hungry because this is the second time we've had to try to...
Don't reveal the trade secrets, Will. Don't reveal the trade secrets.
Yes.
Well, should we start with what is the big news at the minute, and that is Kier Starmer saying he's never going to quit.
Yeah, I hear he wants to start a dictatorship. That's my understanding of things. He's very determined to stay in this job no matter what happens.
Yeah. Well, everyone thought it was a bit up in the air earlier on in the week. We had Anas Sarwar, the leader of Scottish Labour at Holyrood, giving a big speech where he basically just said that Kier Starmer should go, that it wasn't right for the country anymore, that it wasn't right for Scotland, especially Scottish Labour with the Holyrood elections coming up. He's worried that if Starmer's still in post, Labour will not be able to win them.
I don't think he's exactly unjustified in that thinking, to be honest. I mean, Labour are polling very low at the moment. This scandal is... It's not exactly like Starmer's administration has been going swimmingly up to now anyway. And now they've just had this put on them as well. So for Starmer to keep his head above water now is going to be very hard, I think. And the fact that he's been able to stay, even made it past the weekend, I think has surprised a lot of people. So, you know, it's one of those, isn't it? You can only have so much scandal. You can only have so many things go wrong. You can only make so many people unhappy before the writing's on the wall. We've even had Piers Morgan calling him out to say that he should resign. So...
you know, bad when that
yeah.
happens.
But I don't think it quite went Anas Sarwar's way. I think he was hoping for lots of other Labour grandees to back him, to say, yes, I agree with Anas, Kier needs to go. But they all rallied around him. They rallied around him in the WhatsApp chats, in the meeting rooms. Kier Starmer did a big speech to backbench Labour MPs just after, a couple of hours after this speech. And he walked into the room and there was a massive round of applause. Massive round of applause for him in the Cabinet WhatsApp group chat. Everyone was going, oh, we love you, Kier. And whether they actually think that, or whether they're just saying that to protect themselves for the time being, is yet to be seen. But for now, I think he is relatively safe.
Well, obviously his main focus, and this is what he keeps saying, is the cost of living crisis. And he said that he will never give up on that fight. But we also have that famous video of Liz Truss saying that she's a fighter, not a quitter. And then a few days later, I am resigning.
Yes.
So it's like, is it going to go that way? Could we see a potential Starmer resignation in the next week or so?
I think that if do I think he might resign next week? Definitely 100% yes. I think it's still definitely on the cards. However, if he doesn't, then there is a lot of scope for him to turn this around, because people will always be kinder if they're happier. It's like I said, it's not like Starmer's administration has been going great anyway. And that's why this scandal has just heaped up so much more pressure on it. If things were going great, then chances are this would be nowhere near as big of a deal. Don't get me wrong, still a huge scandal, but there wouldn't be so many calls for his resignation, I don't think. So if he's able to make it through this wave of pressure to resign, and he does stay in the job, and he is then able to start making some good on his promises, then you can see the narrative change very quickly, I think.
And he's also said that if anyone were to stand against him, say if Wes Streeting mounted the challenge, maybe Andy Burnham, Angela Rayner, who knows? If anyone were to mount a challenge, he would fight that, and he'd be determined to win. And I think that's put a lot of people in the Labour Party off. They don't want a big parliamentary story. They don't want weeks of arguments and division, because, as you say, it's not been the smoothest parliament we've ever had, and adding a leadership contest to that won't help Labour at all right now.
The last thing they need is infighting.
Yeah, and I think that this big message of support from so many Labour MPs has really helped with that over the last few days. And I do feel that Starmer can cling on unless we hear something else, because we've got those Mandelson files coming out. It's all blown out over the Epstein files.
Yeah.
The Mandelson files that the Foreign Office and the Cabinet Office are compiling. Private WhatsApps, letters, emails, all of that. If there is a single bit of that puts Kier Starmer's name out in a bad way, I think he's a dead man.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it has potential to be a pile-on. If there is anything other than Kier Starmer didn't do anything wrong on purpose out of those files. But do we have a date on when we'll know more about that?
I think it's whenever they're ready.
Whenever they're ready. Well, how long did it take us for us to get the Epstein files?
Whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're ready.
I think we're all ready. I think everyone in the UK is very ready.
But we've obviously also got the Gorton and Denton by-election, which is the 26th February. So it's like, could he resign before that? And then could the whole blocking of Andy Burnham have been a waste?
I think that'll be one of the big litmus tests for Starmer.
Yeah.
I think if nothing else comes out about his involvement with the whole Mandelson affair, he'll sail through that. If they win Gorton and Denton, he'll sail through that. Then it all hinges on these local elections. Big elections in Wales, in Northern Ireland and Scotland, and local elections across England. If Labour does badly in that, that'll be when the knives come out, I think. If they lose Gorton and Denton, lots of people will turn there. But if they win, it'll be the May elections that really test people's loyalty.
Do you know what's really interesting? I think I actually called for the Gorton and Denton by-election a litmus test last week. So great minds think alike, Alfie. I think I was speaking of them as a good litmus test for the entire general election of what's going to happen there. And at the moment, I believe Greens and Reform are currently tested. I think Reform are slightly ahead in the polls, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I was doing my research on it, so Labour at the moment are pretty out of the race in that one. So,
and the other thing to always be cautious about with by-elections is they always favour opposition parties. They're a way for people to protest about the way the country's being run and kind of force the leading party to make a change.
Yes.
So they always favour the opposition, and that's not always repeated in the general election. So they're a good thing to look at, but they're not always bang on.
That's very true. That's very true.
But as we just said, speaking of Andy Burnham, he visited uni.
He did. None of us got to see him.
No.
None of us got to see him. I would have loved to go see him. It was actually really funny. So about a week before all of the Gorton and Denton by-election stuff kicked off, so before the election was announced, I was walking in Manchester and I saw a fella with black hair and glasses who I now realise was Andy Burnham, but I didn't realise it at the time. It was like one of those. So I made eye contact with him, you know, a little bit head tilt. He got his head back to me. He was walking through Oxford Road in Manchester, walking that way past Victoria Park.
Hidden gem.
Walked past, and he was there, and he was right there, and I didn't speak to him. And I walked past and went, "Wait a minute."
Should have got your mic out.
I should have done. I walked past him.
Can I have a few words?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was picking up McDonald's breakfast for me and my girlfriend, so I was not in the interviewing state of mind. But I wish I was, because as soon as I walked past him, I was like, "Wait a minute, that was Andy Burnham," and I just completely fluffed the opportunity to speak to him. And I did it again. He came to university, and I still didn't come speak to him. Alfie, Andy, if you're out there, please let me speak to you.
I love her.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I actually am Andy Burnham's biggest fan. This is a tangent. I saw Blossoms in 2023. Andy Burnham came on stage and introduced them at a festival. It was,
wow.
Yeah.
He's very likeable. He's very
He also
likeable.
talked about the B Network,
Which isn't as likeable at times, but also still a great service to the city. So.
Well, he was here opening the new Greater Manchester Institute of Technology, the Gymyacht. Jimmy Yacht.
Jimmy Yacht.
I think we should call it the Jimmy Yacht. But it's the other side of this wall. The other side of this wall, there's a window. You can see it. But yeah, brand new building for the University of Salford. Looks very nice. Finished a couple of weeks back, and he came for the grand opening.
Oh, so it cost 14.3 million. Wow. And it's a partnership between our university, Wigan and Lee College, Bury College, Tameside College, Trafford and Stockport College, and ADA, which is the National College for Digital Skills. And they're going to be using it as a shared hub, which is quite interesting that they've picked here. Because
It's where everything's happening.
Yeah.
It's where shock radios. They're close to us.
Yeah, I think that was actually in the minutes of the meeting that we decided. It was like, we need to be close to shock radio. That was what they said. I'm pretty sure. But I think it just shows it shows how much Salford is developing as a city.
Yeah.
Like over the past 10, 15 years, we've seen so much development, and it's not stopping. Like it's still just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's getting out of Manchester's shadow. It's becoming what it was always meant to be. Like it's. I think this new installation is just another sign of that.
It does look really nice.
It also does
Rugs
look
and
really nice.
everything. Just get some sheep on there, I think. Look really nice for some animals.
Pet sheep.
Yeah, I love Anyway, talking of improvements and revamps and animals, well, first up we've got that Piccadilly Gardens is getting a revamp, which...
A much needed one, I think it's probably fair to say.
Have you seen the images for it, though?
I haven't, actually.
Well, I've got one.
It's still not very gardeny.
Oh, wow.
Like it's more gardeny than it is now. But
I'm sure we can put it up on the screen.
But if you compare it to like St James's Park in London, it still doesn't live up to the garden's name.
No.
I think. They're removing that big concrete wall, that abomination of a concrete wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still doesn't live up to its name, I don't think.
Well, they've got a blank street there now, so I think that was the start of the improvement.
Oh, well, I take it all back.
Yeah, I think it's good to get an area that has been probably highly criticised. I think it's fair to say by people in Manchester to kind of give it a bit of love, bit of life. That's people can kill them for it. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. And those works look, yes, not quite as gardeny as you might hope, but I think they look quite nice. And I think that when you've got an area that, like I say, has been scrutinised quite a lot, it's good for it to get any upgrade, even if it's maybe not living quite up to its name. Does anybody know what Piccadillys are?
No.
What?
Piccadillys are an actual thing that only existed in the Piccadilly area of Manchester and in the Piccadilly area of London. And I don't actually know what they are, but I just know that they...
Are they workers in hats or something? Is it...
Like I say, I'm not actually... It could be a food, it could be a work, it could be anything. I just know that they're also not being represented in the new builds. So I think we should not be too harsh on the fact that the garden aspect isn't quite as garden as we might like.
I think it's good it's getting a revamp, because for many people coming up to Manchester, it's the first thing they see.
Yeah.
They get off the train at Piccadilly, they get off the bus, they get off the coach. One of the first things they do is they'll walk through Piccadilly Gardens. It's Manchester's shopfront, really. And if it's looking drab and a bit muddy and not much grass and a big concrete wall blocking your view, it's not representative of how vibrant Manchester is as a place and its up-and-coming nature, really.
I have to walk through Piccadilly on my way to work, and it's because usually I start work at 5:00, so everyone's leaving, and there's just nowhere to walk.
It's a busy old place.
Yeah, so I do think with the improvements it'd really work. But speaking of, I guess outdoor things, we've got the pigeon cull at Manchester Victoria, which is making me very upset because I love pigeons.
I just want to say quickly before we move on, where can we read more about Manchester Piccadilly?
Great. Right, Erin Wilson has done a lovely article for us on the Shock website.
Shock News website. So you can go have a look at that, and you can read it, and you can find out everything you need to know about the revamps that are coming.
shockradio.co.uk/news.
All three of us, we really crazy that one.
Yeah.
The Victoria Station pigeons. It's not looking good for the pigeons at Victoria Station, is it?
For the bird management programme, which I think is an abomination of a name.
Yes.
It sounds like passport control.
Yeah.
But with pigeons and guns, I guess.
Checking that the pigeons have visas before they can enter.
Alfie, do you want to explain what's actually going on that's causing all these issues? Because I know you're quite passionate about this story, aren't you?
Well, passionate in the sense that it's annoying when you're at a train station there are so many pigeons. They all kind of live up in the roof.
You're taking a side here, Alfie.
Oh, well, they're pests, really, aren't they? Manchester Victoria has this big roof, like the Eden Project, covering up the trams and a couple of the trains, and they all kind of hide up there, and they deposit their wastes onto the platforms, and it's not particularly nice. And you've got the old building as you enter. That doesn't have a roof anymore, because it's got this big cover over the top of it, and they all hide in there. So they're all hiding in this partially abandoned building, part of the old facade of the station. And from Northern Rail's point of view, it must be very hard to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But I do worry about the bullets, because it's this big sheet of polythene covering up the zone. If they're shooting at it, surely that's going to tear it.
I mean, yeah, I think obviously you want to avoid any damage to the structure itself. I do feel as though it's important to mention, don't really think we should be shooting birds, in my opinion. I obviously understand that they're technically pests, and yes, it's annoying. Nobody likes to get off a train and get pooed on. I think that goes without saying. However, you know, they're living creatures. We share this earth with them. You know, they should be allowed to go where they please sometimes. And yes,
would you be saying if we were talking about rats? If we were talking about an infestation of rats crawling along the platforms or down on the tracks, would you be wanting them, maybe not to be shot, but to be poisoned or whatever, disposed of?
Do you know what? Rats is a really hard one for me because I actually have a phobia for rats, so I know I've got a bit
I've
got a bit of a personal interest in that one to say yes, I would like to get them all gone. But I do understand that morally that's probably not the right thing to do. So I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one and dodge your question, Pastor Sophie.
I think rats and pigeons are just severely misunderstood.
I think pigeons are. I've got a devastating fear of rats, so I'll admit that I'm.
So cute.
And everyone always complains about late trains.
Yes.
The pigeons are causing the late trains in part.
How so?
Well,
that sounds
They're
like
in the way.
they're clearly
Right, okay.
they are clearly causing enough of a problem that Northern Rail is spending their money to get rid of them.
that sounds like a conspiracy theory. The pigeons are causing the late trains. Like that sounds like something that you'd see online from a crazy person.
Maybe they're just doing this to take all the heat away from them running unreliable services, blaming it on the birds.
Yeah, maybe.
Documentary coming out.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
Deep dive.
Panorama pigeons. What are they? But I think if you're going for any of the train stations in Manchester, Victoria, I've never really I see the pigeons, but I think there's more of an issue with pigeons at Oxford Road or Piccadilly. I've never really gone to Victoria and thought, God, I wish these pigeons would go away.
I will say I've never gone anywhere and thought that the pigeons needed to go away, if I'm honest.
Piccadilly, yes. It's
Really?
really bad at because upstairs, when you go upstairs at Piccadilly, they sit next to you. Which
Oh,
I enjoy,
in the cafe.
I enjoy because I love pigeons, but I understand that not everyone does.
Are you the sort of person that would give a bit of your sandwich to a pigeon?
No, because that would then mean more would come over.
So there's a limit for you.
There's a limit for me. If a pigeon came and sat next to me, I'd say hi, but I wouldn't offer it a bit of my sandwich.
That's fair enough.
That's your line in the sand.
Yeah.
One pigeon, no more pigeons.
Yeah. Two.
Maybe you should just get a pet. This feels like you should
A
just
pet
get.
pigeon?
Yeah, maybe that's.
I did used to have a budgie, so yeah.
Okay, then.
There we go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, three's a crowd, so two's my limit.
But no, I think that I mean I said this in the version that's not going to be seen in the light of day. But obviously football stadiums apparently, from my understanding, use like low level frequencies as a way of preventing birds from getting into the stadium and ruining the grass and such and disturbing the crowd. That's at the top level, of course. But why can we not do the same for these train stations? Would it be that hard to just? But surely, all I'm saying is surely there was a better way to prevent a bird infestation than just shooting the birds with rubber pellets. Don't you think, Alfie?
Yeah, but maybe they've tried everything else. Maybe there's a good reason they don't do that. Maybe it interferes with the signalling system, how they communicate with the drivers. I've not looked deep into it, but if they're having to resort over the last few months to shooting them twice a week, then they must have tried other avenues first.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really disappointing of them to
I'd like to think.
Yeah, if they're inflicting harm on these animals, it should be with reason. And I think if it turns out that there is an alternative out there that they've not considered or maybe don't want to consider because it's more expensive, perhaps, I think there is something to be said that's morally wrong and should be called out.
Mm.
Well, they've said that they've actually tried many other ways. They haven't said what other ways they've tried to get rid of them, but apparently they have. So I think it does seem like it's a bit of a last resort, but it still feels a bit severe. And as well, they're not actually disposing of the pigeons. If they were disposing of it, fair enough. But someone, like a member of the public, found a pigeon hanging upside down that was stuck because it had been shot. So they had to take it to the vets, and they amputated its leg, which, that's so upsetting. I love birds.
No, I mean, it is horrible. It is objectively horrible. So I think that if what you're saying is true, and so what they're saying is true, and they have tried a bunch of other ways, then you got to kind of take them at their word, I suppose. But surely there is a way in 2026 that we can get pigeons to not invade our spaces without having to shoot them with rubber pellets.
Or we could just learn to live alongside them.
Or learn to live alongside.
Maybe we could build, I don't know, a little pigeon hut on top of all the trains so they can ride around.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, all that.
Pitch it to Northern Rails.
Yes. Should we go into another story? And that is that 412 new student flats are planned for the abandoned site on, is it just off Seaford Road?
So on the...
You know a lot about this, because
yes.
this is your article.
Yes, so on the corner of Seaford Road going on to, I believe it's retrograde, I might be.
Yeah.
There is a building called Sturvon House. Have you, Alfie, I know you're...
Yeah,
there?
I walk past it every single day, and they've been taking it down.
Yeah, they have been taking it down. So the plan is to knock it down. It used to be a leatherworks factory. There's actually not that much information out there of what that building's purpose was. But the only thing I was able to find when I was doing my research was that it used to be a leatherworks. But they've decided they're going to knock it down and they're going to build a new high-rise student accommodation. I believe that it's 412 rooms, and then I can't remember the exact number of actual flats. But obviously, as is the nature of student accommodation, it's like a cluster of rooms with one kitchen. So that's
148.
So yeah, thank you. 148. Where'd you get that one from? That's
Salford now.
148 flats, and that would be a high-rise building in an area that doesn't actually have that many typical high-rise buildings. There's other student accommodations in the area. Obviously, there's X1 just up the road. There's IQ. There's Waterside Village. There's Tramways just across the road. So it's an area that's already kind of densely populated by students. But now they're putting in another high-rise building specifically for students.
And it's part of this whole, they call it the Crescent masterplan, and the University of Salford's part of it, Greater Manchester Authority, Salford City Council, and they're trying to revamp that whole area. You've got Salford Rise, that big bridge that's going to have trees and cycle lanes and stuff on it. It's just down the road. That whole area is getting developed into a new innovation hub. So you've got an innovation hub just down the road. You've got the new robotics centre that was built a couple of years back, this new Institute of Technology. This whole area is having a lot of money by central government and by the Manchester councils to become a new hub for students and people starting their careers in the professional sector.
I should just say that, to be clear, the actual plans of the accommodation themselves have not yet been confirmed. So it is the demolition of Sturvon House. That planning application has been submitted. That's under consultation, and it says in that application that the plan would be, once that is knocked down, to then build up that accommodation. So to be clear, we're still probably quite a way away from that high-rise building being put in, but it's getting off the tracks. It's just starting. What am I trying to say? What's the expression?
It's getting off to a start.
It's getting off to a start. Yes.
When they do build it, I hope they go the same way as Tramways. So Tramways is the building next door to it, and there was a warehouse there before, and they've kept the original arch and some of the brickwork and put it back on. I have always really liked the look of the edge of this building. It's very run down, but the entrance I quite like. So if, when they rebuild it, they could save those bricks, save the nice panel that has the name on it of the company that used to be based there, if they could reset that onto the wall, I think that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, I hate to ruin the dream, Alfie, but I do actually have some information for you. So the plan would be for basically the entirety of Sturvon House to be knocked down for a number of reasons. One of them being the amount of asbestos that is in the building because of how old it is. So unfortunately, I'm not sure how viable it will be for them to actually keep that much of the original structure. These plans that they've got in place to build this whole new high-rise, I think, would be a totally original building just on the side. So I hate to...
I'll buy the panel. We We can put it up in here.
Yeah.
Set decoration.
Well, obviously, we've also got the Lidl has opened nearby.
Yes.
And Burger Stop is now there. Have you been to Burger Stop yet?
You know what? I went to Burger Stop for the first time 2 days ago.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was, I would say on the whole, I liked it. And I say that kind of through gritted teeth on some level. But I think I liked it.
You know, I think it looks a bit like
Go on.
a dentist's.
Yes.
It's very white, very clinical. All of the sofas are in like mint green or blue. It looks like the waiting room for dentists. It doesn't feel like a fast food joint. And I wonder if that's to make it feel a bit healthier.
Ooh.
The lighting and the mood feels like a hospital, a health centre. Even a bit like a Pure Gym.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
They've lit it like that. They've decorated it like that to maybe make it feel a bit healthier. I don't know. Maybe that's me theorising a bit too much, but
They
it's
should get the tube doors like that they have at the gym.
Yes.
When you walk through, it feels like you're shooting up.
My only very mild complaint about it, and I will say I like the food. The food was great. For the price as well, it was very good. However, I ordered chicken fillets, and they were around this big. And for me,
It's the cost of living crisis.
that's,
It's hurting all of us.
I will say that one hurt me a little bit because I was quite hungry and I wasn't full.
Oh.
I
we'll
wasn't
just
full.
think about food today, Will.
I'm
Yeah.
very hungry.
Well, shall we move on to something that's really exciting me? Robbie Williams is doing an intimate gig as part of Brits Week for raising money for War Child. So he's playing the Aviva Studios on the 27th of February, which I don't think I'm going. I said I don't think I'm going. It's one of the ones where you have to request tickets.
Oh, right.
Because it's...
Do you have to pay?
Yeah.
And I bet that's going to be quite steep.
Yeah, well, to be fair...
It's for charity though, of course.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I can forgive paying a high ticket fee if it is going to a good cause.
Yeah.
If they're going down the route that they did a few years ago, so the 1975 did a gig at Gorilla in 2023 for War Child for Brits Week, and I think the tickets were £15.
Oh, that's
So
really quite reasonable. Yeah.
Because I also saw the 1975 the year after for £70. So yes, so if they're going down that route, but obviously we don't really know yet. Olivia Dean is also playing a concert. She's on at the Albert Hall for Brits Week, and so are the K's, which I tried to get tickets for that, and unfortunately I didn't. I'm very upset.
But there's a lot of good music going on in Manchester then.
Yeah, I'm seeing a gig tonight.
Yeah.
So I think that is what it's trying to do, is support grassroots venues as well as supporting charity, because obviously grassroots venues are like the amount of them are declining because they're getting bought out by bigger companies, or as you can tell, I'm very passionate about music. They're getting bought out by or they're losing money. So Mother Mary's obviously shut down last year because they were losing money, and they're another grassroots venue because they have had like music gigs and stuff. Chris Hawkins from BBC Radio 6 Music did a DJ set there, which was very good.
Yeah, I think obviously Manchester has always kind of been known for its music. It's got such a cultural impact on the music scene the city has. So I think that it's great that they're giving these, like you say, these grassroots venues an opportunity, because we don't see a lot of local bands making it as big as they used to.
No.
And I think that a part of that is maybe because the circuits that they used to do aren't quite as prevalent anymore. So giving money to these venues and generate them a bit of popularity, a bit of PR and all that, it can only be seen as a good thing for both Manchester, for both the Manchester music scene, and then by extension, the music scene.
Yeah.
And it's always been so hard for small music venues to turn a profit. Even the Hacienda, which you've spoken about all the time, never turned a profit in its 20 years that it was there. Never turned a profit. So it's so hard, even for the big, small venues, to survive. And it's something that really does need to be protected.
Yeah. I love supporting because also the cheaper gigs are at the grassroots venues. Like they're like £5, £8, which is great. You don't get that at the Court of Life. You don't get that at the AO Arena, which you also don't get that with Harry Styles. I did not get Harry Styles tickets for Manchester, and I'm very upset. But for our last story, Kind of a light-hearted one, I guess. 493 days, and the United Strand still has long hair.
Yes, I'm sure the sports show will be covering this a bit.
Yes,
so tune in.
So tune into the sports show, yeah.
And if you've already missed it by the time you're watching this, do just go back. You can listen to it. What can you listen to it on, Alfie?
I'm doing all the web addresses. Shockradio.co.uk/camps. No, shockradio.co.uk/catch-up or shockradio or shocktv.co.uk.
What was that one you were about to say?
Campsite. That's in a couple of weeks.
So do you plug that as well?
Listen.
Campsite. Tune in and watch and all that.
Yeah.
Donate.
But that's all we've got time for. But thank you guys. I've had fun.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.